Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Sonny, for saying good morning. I'm Reverend Bill Lyon, your minister here at Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church. Each of us arrives this morning carrying a particular view of the world, shaped by our experience, our stories, or the corners we call home. May this hour invite us to see a little more broadly, listen a little more deeply, and discover what waits beyond the familiar. It's my pleasure to introduce our newest worship associate, Kevin Wallace, who will help lead this service. Kevin?
Hi, good morning. Welcome. Whoa. That wasn't in the script. So let's welcome to Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church. Whether you're here in the sanctuary, joining us on Zoom, or connecting with us later online, I'm Kevin Wallace, as Reverend Bill said, and I'm serving as the worship associate this morning. Heritage is a Unitarian Universalist congregation in the Universalist tradition. We are a community grounded not in a shared creed, but in a shared covenant, seeking to grow in compassion, love, justice, and connection. If you're new here this morning, a special welcome to you, and whoever you are, whomever you love, and wherever you are in your journey, we hope you will find something here that nourishes your spirit. And one way to stay connected with one another is through our connection cards. Hopefully you got one of these on the way in. Whether this is your first Sunday or if you've been here for decades, you're invited to use the card to let us know you were here, update your contact information. People are moving around, switching emails, ask a question even, request a conversation, or simply let us know what's on your heart. And if you're visiting us this morning, we'd especially appreciate hearing from you. Completing a card is the best way for us to stay in touch and, again, answer any questions you may have and help you learn more about the congregation. And those of you on Zoom, you will find a link in the chat called We're Glad You're Here. In the sanctuary, you may leave a card at your seat or place it in the black box at the rear of the sanctuary, hand it to an usher, or even use the handy-dandy QR code. If you have questions about the congregation or would like a tour after the service, somebody or one of our board members, do we have a board greeter back there? There we are. I see you back there. It will be available in the entryway, and we'd be happy to help you afterwards. We also invite you to stay after worship for conversation and fellowship today. We are all invited to remain for the shared ministry listening session immediately following worship. This is one of the 2 in-person sessions. There will be another one later on in Zoom. Those joining us online may also wish to have a camera available near the end of our service, where we'll invite our Zoom community to join us visually for our closing benediction. And now, as we settle into worship together, we ask that you silence your cell phones and any other devices so that we can be fully present with one another. You should have received an order of services as you entered, and Reverend Bill and I will share a few additional announcements as we continue, or before we continue.
Thanks, Kevin. Welcome to your first gig as worship associate.
I only stumbled a couple of words. You said this is where we were going to highlight just a few upcoming things, but only just a few, right?
Yeah, that's right, because there are other ways to know what's happening around here. Like the back of the order of service. You got that. The morning connection that Martha sends out every Monday, which is why we need your email addresses on those cards. And the rolling billboard in the Great Hall. And then there's the events calendar on the website and the new church app.
I'm sorry, did you say new church app? I vaguely remember Kelly mentioning that last week, but if we didn't get it set up yet, how could we do that?
Well, there are volunteers in the Great Hall during the coffee hour to do just that, and they'll be here next week as well. And I say that because I know some of our members are heading out to the Pride events in the area, so you'll want to get that set up right away so you can head out to either the Northern Kentucky Pride or where I'll be, which is the East Side Pride event at Beach Acres from 1 to 5 p.m. We have a booth. So come join us.
A booth. You know, the other big thing that is happening, you might have heard about this, is our first shared ministry listening session. It will take place right here in the sanctuary about 10 minutes after worship ends, so grab a snack during the coffee hour and come back in, share your reflections on our shared ministry together as Reverend Bill completes his first year serving as our minister. And if you haven't completed the survey yet, we hope you will do that as well. Paper copies are available in the foyer, along with a QR code if you prefer to complete it online. It looks something like this. If you are looking for it now, I think the ushers could get it for you. Raise your hand if you'd really like one. There's a couple of hands going up there. Great way to complete it. And with that, I'll get out of your hair.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. For our call to worship, we're going to have our chalice lit by Sonny. So if Sonny wants to make his way up here, that'd be great. And I'll nod to you when it's time, all right? When it's time, I'll nod to you. All right? Great. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Just stand right back there until I nod to you, and then you'll light the chalice. Just now you can listen for now. Because we gather from many journeys, some long, some difficult, some just beginning. We gather knowing that no one else sees the whole world alone. Every person carries experiences we have not lived. Every life contains stories we do not yet know. As we light this chalice, may its flame kindle in us the courage to look again, the humility to listen, the curiosity to learn from one another. For the world is larger than our own corners, and love calls us to explore it. Come, let us worship together. Thank you, Sonny. And we're going to do that next by joining our voices for hymn number 159, This Is My Song. There's a hymnal under your seat, but the words will also appear above. Please rise as you're able and remain standing for our covenant.
Remain standing for our covenant. Right. By this covenant, we affirm that love is the spirit of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus we do covenant with each other and with God. Thank you.
Would our kids please come forward? Come this way, y'all. We're going to do something a little different. We all are going to sit in the chairs in the front row. Oh. Now, congregation, this means you will see the back of their heads today. They are glorious heads, aren't they? Look at them there. Okay. All right. Now, this setup is perfect because you all get to think about the questions too. We have pictures we're going to show on the screen. The question is, what is that? Are we ready for it? All right. First one. What is that? Carpet. Maybe carpet. Skin. Mari? Leaves. Definite leaves. Do we have some? Okay. All right. Next picture. Oh. What is that? No clue. We're stumped. Shell. A shell. Rowan? A pillow. Ah, I see it. Okay. Other? A beak? Oh, a beak. That could be frightening if it's a bird. Okay. I'm just afraid of birds. Oh, what is that? Sunny? A rainbow cookie. Which we might have dropped on carpet. Oh my. All right. Okay. But it's most probably a rainbow for sure, right? Stained glass. Ceramic. A heart maybe? Okay. Let's look at the next one. Oh, it's a rainbow heart. What is it on though? Rowan? Carpet? Or a shirt? Mari? Leaves. Still leaves. We think it's leaves. All right. Next one. Oh, what is that? It's a pen on a jacket. Has anyone seen this pen on a jacket anywhere? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, wait. Oh, has anyone seen that jacket? No, Mari. Okay. All right. So here's what we want to think about. What we can see changes how we interpret things, right? When all we could see is a very tight picture of a jacket, it's really hard to know what that is. But a new experience, a new perspective, a new picture helps us see more clearly. You know, it's a funny example that we use today, but this is actually true with everything. The more experiences we have, the more things we see, the more people we learn about, the more places we travel, the more books we read, the more experiences we have, the more we see the world in a new way. Yes? Yes. 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 It is always good to have a companion on our adventures because they can help us go lots of places that we might not be able to go by ourselves. Yes. And then we can, it's so exciting. Adventures are so exciting. And Rin is absolutely right. Having new experiences with friends is absolutely wonderful. Makes us less afraid, gives us someone to talk to them about, and gives us the ability to experience new things with old people. That's a special treasure, okay? So let's try this summer to have a new experience with an old friend. Yes? Okay. Okay. We are going to do, Mimi found a treasure for us. Okay, we're going to find him though. Okay, we are actually going to go out this door right here, but I want you just to go right outside the door, and then we're going to see if we can find our friend outside, okay? And then we will go in after that. Now, instead of a blessing today, we're going to make a promise to each other, okay? Is everyone ready for that? But we're all going to say it. I promise to try something new with a friend so I can grow and see new things. Amen. Okay.
Ren is just unbelievably cute. I'm so glad she was here. Reverend Bill asked me to do this reading here as well. This is from The Prisoner from Marcel Proust. The only true voyage of discovery, the only fountain of eternal youth, would be not to visit strange lands, but to possess others' eyes, to behold the universe through the eyes of another, of 100 others, to behold the 100 universes that each of them beholds, that each of them is. And now to my favorite part of every service, candles of community. So each of us carries joys and sorrows that others may never fully see. As we light these candles, we honor the many stories gathered among us today. Stories of celebration and struggle, gratitude and concern, love and loss. If you're worshiping with us on Zoom, you're invited to share a joy or sorrow in the chat, and Reverend Bill will read them and light candles on your behalf. If you're here in the sanctuary, you're invited to come forward using the side aisles here. If you would prefer to hold your concern or celebration quietly, simply come forward and Reverend Bill will light a candle in silence for you. Or if you would like to share, please take the microphone, tell us your name, and briefly name a joy or sorrow, then return to your seat using the center aisle. Let us hold one another and the wider world in love as we gather these candles of community. Are there joys or sorrows among us today?
Well, and that doesn't mean there aren't more joys and sorrows out there. We all carry many of them. And so I light this last candle for all those we hold in our hearts. As the minister trades out the memorial jar for the plates and wonders where in the world, oh, there they are, okay. So, have you ever learned something important about your own beliefs by listening to someone else's? Hearing their music, sharing a meal with them? Each week our offering supports a worthy community partner. Today we share our abundance with Equation, a Cincinnati organization that brings people of different faiths and backgrounds together in conversation, learning, and relationship. They actually have a wonderful festival that this year will be in August as well. In a world that often encourages us to stay within our own corners, Equation helps build understanding across religious and cultural differences. So today's cash and checks that you place in these offering bowls, they'll support that work. If you'd like your contribution to support Heritage instead, please use a blue envelope. The ushers can get you one, or note church or pledge on a check. Let us give as we're able. Thank you for your generosity in supporting dialogue across difference. I was about to do one of those things that one shouldn't do, which is interrupt the sacredness of our offering by saying something like, leave it to the choir to turn an instrumental into a choir production. And that's wonderful, because we are going to hear from our choir now and twice today, and then we're not going to hear from them for the summer. So I want to just take a moment to express how much it means to this congregation, to our worship, to have your gifts about every other week for about 10 months, and we love you. We love you. And now our choir.
Journey, I said the journey
We're gonna miss them. We're gonna miss them. But they'll be back. And you too might be a part of that choir. Right? You got room there? All right. I know you know how to sing because I see you after the church around the piano, which we'll do again. Marcel Proust wrote that the true voyage of discovery is not to visit strange lands, but to possess eyes, other eyes, to behold the universe through the eyes of another. And I've been thinking about that because I'm not sure everyone travels that way, even when we're thousands of miles from home. See, I don't mean just tourism or going places. I'm referring to something deeper, something more spiritually grounded. Mark Twain famously wrote that travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. And I think there's truth in that. But over time, I've come to wonder whether it's travel itself that changes us or it's something slightly different. I know that travel, it's been true for me in my travels, encountering others with different perspectives has helped me grow in myriad ways. Yet I fear that many are closed off from that opportunity. And some of it has to do with access. Not everyone can hop on a flight or a cruise for a lot of reasons. Money, of course. It costs tons more than it did back in 1984 with my backpack and $15 a day. Beyond that, many have physical limitations, and for some, parts of this world and even parts of this country may not be safe to travel in. Because passport stamps and plane tickets require more than money. They require a certain freedom to move through the world safely. And that freedom is not equally distributed. But there are other factors too. As a people, we've grown comfortable with folks who look like us, pray like us, or vote like us. And that's exactly the prejudice that Twain was talking about. And he's not the only one. Travel guru Rick Steves titled one of his books, "Travel is a Political Act." He argues it's not just the going, it's the how. The intentional stepping out of comfort zones beyond our own corners. That's what builds empathy, challenges assumptions, helps us recognize our shared humanity with other inhabitants of planet Earth. I like to think of it as kind of a candles of community for 8.3 billion souls. Yet the going somewhere isn't everything, at least not entirely. British author G.K. Chesterton distinguished between the tourist and the traveler. The tourist goes somewhere to see things on a list. You've seen them. If you're like me, you've even been them sometimes. Whether it's Paris or Cincinnati, with our guidebooks and our Yelp apps, we arrive with our checklists. Eiffel Tower, check. Karoo Tower, check. But if all we're doing is checking off boxes, we're merely tourists, not travelers. Those open to movement within, not merely movement around. Chesterton says, the traveler sees what he sees. The tourist only sees what he has come to see. And that phenomenon is all too similar to what happens, say, when one turns on the news. Their preferred source, or their Facebook feed, algorithmically tweaked to serve up preferences, assumptions, prejudices. The single story told over and over again. There are other ways, though. Ways of moving beyond our own corners, ways of opening up to a broader narrative. In one of the most watched TED Talks of all time, author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie Adichie eloquently warns us of the danger of a single story. If you haven't seen that particular talk, make it a priority. 18 minutes that will get you beyond your corner. Just Google single story. She reminds us that stories shape the world, whether or not they're true, whether they are complete or not, and they are never complete. Humans tend to narrow our understanding of others to single stories, assumptions we make or that are intentionally fed to us, that reduce the complexity of individuals and cultures to stereotypes. And this is the powerful force that denies the inherent dignity and worth of all. It is one of the challenges that we as UUs have to face. How do we help dismantle cultures that do that when we ourselves have been steeped in it? And travel, physical or metaphorical, could indeed be part of the antidote. If there's one thing drilled into the head of every UU minister or seminarian, it is this: you need a spiritual practice. Some pray, some meditate, some do yoga. I have one colleague I know who blows bubbles. Me, I wander. W-A-N-D-E-R. A few years ago, I stumbled across a book called The Art of Flaneuring, and I learned about the 19th century flaneur, a person who wandered city streets without a destination, simply paying attention. Now, the original flaneurs were mostly wealthy men, gentlemen, with enough privilege and leisure to spend their days strolling through Paris while someone else worried about practical matters. That's not exactly my situation. But I was drawn to the practice itself, the invitation to slow down, to notice, to cross invisible boundaries, to be surprised. So on many Tuesdays, I spend a couple of hours wandering a neighborhood I don't know very well. And every single time, I come home with rich experiences, having learned something I didn't know before about my community, about a person, or about myself. So one day I found myself in the village of Cheviot. Still not sure how I got there, and I have not pronounced that city name the same way twice yet. Cheviot, Cheviot, or Chevois. Could be any or all of the above. So I wandered into this thrift shop, a really huge thrift shop. And I'm not normally a thrifter, but some in my family are, so I thought I'd check it out for them. Besides, I had nothing I needed to do. I was carefree. And there's the privilege, isn't it? To wander into a space of necessity for others, entirely as a leisure activity for myself. Well, despite this thrift shop having just about every kind of thing one could want, and many things no one would ever want, there was no men's clothing section. Yeah, there, among the women's blazers, there was something that looked a lot like a men's sport jacket, which made no sense. But I reached out, and I touched it, and it felt a lot like a nice brown micro suede sport coat. On a whim, I tried it on. Get this, the only piece of men's clothing in the thrift shop in a town on the other side of the city for $5. That fits pretty well, don't you think? This was the same day of flaneuring when I met and talked with Rosita. There she is. Isn't she beautiful? She moved here from the Philippines 40 years ago with her late husband, whom she misses dearly. We sat for 30 minutes on a bench across from the fire station. You see, she falls sometimes, so she likes to sit where the nice, strong EMTs can help her up. Give her a lift back to her apartment when she does. On another day in OTR, I met Stephanie, who was hungry. I told her I was hungry too. So we grabbed conies and we ate them together. She lives just down the street, next to the church. That's also where I saw this phrase, above the doorway of the Cincinnati Oratory. Can you make that a little bigger for us? When shall we begin to do good? In a neighborhood that was grand and then forgotten and then gentrified, it held special meaning for me. See, there's a prayer and a sermon in every wander, here and abroad, if we take time to notice. And I notice that I am welcome in more places than others are. That privilege shapes who gets to wander freely and where. I mentioned G.K. Chesterton earlier. There's a line of his that guides me on my travels through the exotic neighborhoods of Cincinnati. It is this: the whole object of travel is not to set foot on foreign land. It is at last to set foot on one's own country as foreign land. And let me be clear, crossing oceans matters. Immersing ourselves in other cultures matters. There's so much this world can teach us if we go as travelers, not as tourists. The Rick Steves way, the Chimamanda Adichie way, the Anne and Mike Roberts way. A way of moving through the world with curiosity rather than certainty. It was their purchase, Mike and Ann. For folks who don't know you, just give us a quick wave. It was their purchase of a sermon topic at our annual auction that inspired this reflection. It is so good to have you with us between your travels, Mike and Ann. You inspire me with not just your amazing photos, but by how I see you live your lives, with the grace and curiosity of true travelers. And yet some of the most profound travel requires no luggage at all. By reading books by authors of marginalized identities, we can glimpse the lived experience of others we may never encounter firsthand. By exploring world religions and cultures, we can learn more about our own. By having a conversation to understand rather than to convince, we can help bridge the political divide that is so painful in these times. By just noticing more intentionally from wherever we are, a mall, a bus, a bench, a chair in our own front yard, not the backyard, the front yard. And when we're home, we can flip past Fox and CNN to a PBS or National Geographic show and invite the world to come to us. Early this morning, Kevin read words from Marcel Proust. He wrote that the true voyage of discovery is not to visit strange lands, but to possess other eyes, to behold the universe through the eyes of another. I think that's what happened when I sat on a bench with Rosita. What happens when we read a novel by someone whose life is different from our own? What happens when we open ourselves to another religion or culture? It's also what happens when we stop trying to win an argument and start trying to understand a person. This week, you may not find yourself in Paris. You may not board a plane. You may not even leave the tri-state. But you will encounter someone whose story you don't know. A neighbor, a cashier, someone on a bench. The invitation isn't complicated. Look again. Listen a little longer. Let yourself be surprised, because every person you meet contains a world you've not yet seen. And perhaps that is the true voyage of discovery. Not crossing an ocean, not collecting passport stamps, but learning, even for a moment, to behold the universe through the eyes of another. Happy travels. Time for one more of those special words. Wow. Don't get too comfortable because we're about to gather around the sanctuary, as we like to do. If you're able to make your way to the outer edges, please do so. If not, we will find a way to connect with you. And we invite those on Zoom to turn your cameras on, and so we can see your lovely faces too above here, and we can all be together in one room at one time. Charlotte, do we have a gallery view we can share? Okay. If not, we see the camera with all of you. Oh, there we go. So we'll see if we can turn that to a gallery view. And we'll grab hands. All right, so next time we will do that. The world is larger than any of us alone can see. May we go forth with curious minds, open hearts, and a willingness to be surprised by the people and the stories we encounter along the way.